Okay, so how's it going to festival? Conference, festival, I love this thing, it's fantastic. So, as you can read, rendering in Angular 2, my name is Leonardo Zizzamia, and I love Big Hero 6. If you didn't watch the movie, watch it, it's amazing. So, what is rendering? I mean, simple thing. We have a series of instructions, and we just print some image on the screen. And we do every day, pretty much everyone codes in HTML, CSS, one of our favorite markup language. And that language is parsed, became instruction, and the browser render what we write. But as far as I remember, the goal was, in the last few years, we tried to find a different way to write always HTML, but especially to write one app and be rendered kind of like in different way. Like we have our app for the web, and we want the same code, reuse it maybe for desktop, maybe for mobile, maybe in different platform. But the point to going to HTML to native, it's kind of like tricky sometimes. We have a few cases, like for example, with the web view, we have like PhoneGap or Ionic that help us to actually write HTML code and render in different platforms. And we have recently we have other native stuff like NativeScript or React Native that also help us to write code for other different platforms. But the pro is we can use more a language that is very simple for us, like HTML. The cons is like needs different template for any framework. So you still write in HTML, but most of the time you have to kind of like adjust or readapt from the framework or the client that you are using. And so the question that me and Matthias, so I prepared this talk with Matthias in the last few months, and we kind of like ask how we can do a step forward. And Matthias a few months ago told me that actually maybe Angular 2 can do a step forward and have one template implementation for all the platforms. And I said, can I do it just right now? That would be great. And it's not now yet, but there is this class. This name renderer. There is this class named renderer. We could play with that. So the render class, it's already been used, is an internal tool inside Angular 2 that actually has been used on the web to render for JavaScript and Dart. And we already heard about it like in different talk, like how in the server side we can do pre-compilation and a build step. And this class is still kind of like work in progress. It's changing, like it's been changing like in the last few months. It's gonna keep changing. So before continuing talking about the render class, I want to allow you kind of like you better understand how actually works rendering in Angular 2. So as we know, we have all the core level where we try to put all our logic inside there, and the UI space where actually we want to render it. So what does it mean? On the core level, there is a parse HTML and a parse CSS. They parse all your template and create all the meta information. They became instruction, and this instruction ascend it to the UI. And on the UI, there is the render that gets this instruction and render finally all and print in your DOM. Out to the other side, the UI just give like different event. The core manipulate that. And this separation that we have from core UI, as we already like heard about it, it allow us to use web worker on the core level. But also this separation between like core level and UI not only help us to support web workers, but also to support custom render. So what actually does it mean that we custom render? The thing is like we have this class, render class, that get all the instruction, and the render class, by using this instruction, render on the web page, for example. And the thing is, we have our HTML in Angular 2 with several element and an ngIf. And all this HTML code and CSS, it's became like a series of instructions, like create the view root, create the ngIf element, create the h3, the paragraph, the image, the inner content. And all this instruction, as I said, goes to the render. So this class, this is just kind of like a short view of how the class render looks. Like there are different methods, like create element, create view root, create text. So if you look all these methods, easily you can start thinking, if I want to do a custom render, I can just extend some of this method and make something more useful for the platform that I want, like I want my application running. So we actually started doing some basic experimentation, and we said, okay, let's try to experiment with Canvas. We're pretty much like familiar to like create different like draw on a canvas, and it's too tiny. Nothing. So it's okay. So if you see what actually we try to do here, we create a custom render named Canvas Renderer that extends the DOM render. And for each method that you saw before, like create element, create view root, create text, the internal implementation it's made for the platform or the client that we want to run our application. In this case, we are doing for the canvas. So we try to like create the element, render the element, create the container for the canvas. If you play at least once with Canvas, this syntax looks pretty familiar for you. So on the HTML, pretty much look exactly like the same. You have your ng4, you try to iterate it on the list. And in the end, this is the output. We pretty much, by changing the HTML and using this custom render, in this case our canvas render, we just generate this. So, I mean, it's not very useful, like implement like a canvas render. It's more like, I don't know, a fun experiment just for give a try. But if you think about it, you can apply this pattern, this approach, to the platform that you want using for your application or for the client. So what actually we could do when this render class is stable, when Angular 2 is going to become stable, we can extend it and use it for different platforms. So I strongly suggest we upload like this example on this GitHub repo, where you can easily go to the file on the TypeScript file and see how we extend the DOM render, and we just like one by one re-implement, extended all the method from the class render. And in the end, we bootstrap it for the Angular 2 app. I lost the thing. Shit. Activate saturation mode. Here we go. So, to the other hand, if you want not only doing different platform, and you want to do in different client, we also want to use our web application for Electron. And maybe later on use it for Ionic with the web view renders or native script. And we try to implement one basic calendar app, where in this case it's implemented by Electron. So we make a plugin, actually Rob make a plugin, and we reuse it, where this plugin pretty much is a custom implementation of the Bootstrap for Angular 2, where it's pretty much bootstrap your Angular 2 app to run with Electron. And we did in the way that this is the web version, and this instead is the Electron version. look exactly the same. You use the same HTML, the same JavaScript code. You just change some stuff, like in this case, we just bootstrap in a different way for Electron, and here a classic way for the JavaScript implementation. So if you see, what we try to kind of like push with this experiment is like, what if we try to experiment and see to have one single app, but just with custom render, we can just running everywhere without be obligated to change the template in the way that fits all the different like plugin. The same for this different client. You can check like you can check the GitHub repo, where here pretty much you can install it and play with that. And on the source, you will see the web implementation, very basic. And the same for the desktop one. So just keep in mind, this is work in progress. The render class is going to keep changing. Tobias is the guy on the core team that is working actively in the last few months. Is going to keep refactoring and probably maybe change the API of the class, but doesn't stop us to actually start playing with that. And one thing that me and Matthias we're going to try to make sure is keep updating these two kind of like experiment that you saw, the canvas implementation and the client implementation, and make sure that this experiment can actually find its way in the real industry. And a way that I can make sure that this is happening is actually because a few months ago when I decided to bring a talk in this conference, I said, okay, I want to bring a talk that my company can use every day. So something that I can use every day. So we said, in my case, in my company plan, we decided to after that we finish the web implementation, to of course making the desktop implementation. And we said, okay, because we want to use Angular 2, how we can make it happen with Electron on a different way. So the main goal is not waiting that something is ready before doing that, but just keep trying and see how things works, what is broke and what is ready. Because in my case, when I start working on plan, this thing was in Backbone, and in October I start doing the refactoring and start doing the migration on Angular 1. And when I start thinking, okay, I want more speed because there are a lot of like DOM manipulation, that is a lot of data that is happening in this app. I thought, okay, we need migrate on Angular 2. In fact, like in the last month, we migrate from Angular from NG1 to NG2. We are like 32% done, and we keep migrate because we want to start use all the power of this render, not only for custom rendering, but also for like the pre-compilation and all the different nice tools that are coming. And what actually this application does, if you see on the left, there is like different like to-do list, stuff that you do every day. It can be a lot of stuff. And on the right instead is your calendar, like your agenda view for your day, kind of like I have to finish plan migration, I have to drink more coffee, I have to ask Ben how do I use Rax.js, and stuff like that. So the main point is like, if you want to better organize your day, I suggest to using this thing at least once. It's pretty funny. And one thing that I noticed during the migration that I started 1 month ago with ng upgrade is actually that, by the way, this is implemented in ECMAScript 5 for now. And the migration is going pretty smooth. And one thing that I noticed is like when you are trying to, because the render class, there is no documentation, and all this other stuff is still an experiment. It's kind of like tricky use all these things that are not documented inside a real web industry app. So I cannot try to push myself and my team to kind of like make things work. especially because we know that the render class API is going to change, and all this information are gonna how use it is gonna be changing like month by month. So we thought to actually come out with an article. So Matthias just published this article today, where in this article we're gonna like updating constantly every time the API is gonna change. So in this way you can always kind of like keeping track of how you make your custom render for like your application. Again, if you want to play a little bit with the canvas render, there is the GitHub repo and also the client implementation. Of course, special thanks to Matthias that he did most of the canvas implementation. And also special thanks to Rob that helped us for the Electron plugin. And Tobias, of course, because wrote wrote the render class and the rest of the core team. Again, one thing is important. The main goal of all this story is try to figure out how make plugin that we can very easily use inside Angular 2 to use our app, the same code, the same JavaScript, the same HTML, across different platform, a different client. This talk is just like a high level like thought about it, but now it's kind of like the challenge from now to the next year to actually make this thing happening. And thank you for listening.